April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and students are empowering victims through a protest called Take Back the Night. In 3 weeks, VCU students will be walking across the stage, but some are not happy about the announcement of the intended commencement speaker. VCU women's tennis team lost their game yesterday, but are now heading to a bigger stage in a bigger court next week. VCU InSight starts right now. Hi, welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Mark Jones. VCU students are making their voices heard with their annual Take Back the Night event that aims to help survivors of sexual assault speak out. Here's VCU InSight reporter Nia McMillan with more.
I'm here at VCU where students are gathered to educate the community during Sexual Assault and Awareness Month. Today's event, Take Back the Night, seeks to give a voice to those who may not have one. Organized by students, Take Back the Night is an annual event organized by students aiming to help educate the community on sexual assault and rape. According to RAINN.org, a person is sexually assaulted once every 2 minutes in the United States. In 2022, the VCU Campus and Safety Report stated a total of 20 reported rape cases. This event comes just in time to give people a voice during April for Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month.
It's an event that allows the people who have been assaulted to take their power back. And so that's why we call it Take Back the Night.
If you or anyone you know is or has been a victim of sexual assault, please call the national hotline at 1-800-656-4673. For VCU InSight and the newsroom at VCU, I'm Nia McMillan.
Graduation season is approaching at VCU, but some students say they have concerns after it was announced that Governor Glenn Youngkin will be the commencement speaker this year. Broadcast major Esther Shobawale is out getting student reactions.
On Saturday, May 11th, Governor Youngkin will deliver VCU's commencement speech, but some students are not happy with the school's decision. Katie Devine, a graduating senior at VCU, has questions for the university's choice.
He is someone who actively pushes against higher education and the right education, pointing out things like how we shouldn't teach critical race theory and things like that.
Devine says that Governor Youngkin supports a specific group of people despite VCU being such a diverse university. In a statement, University President Michael Rao welcomed the governor, saying, "We appreciate Governor Youngkin's commitment to growing Virginia's workforce and its connection with higher education. As the state's university in our capital city, VCU is a vital part of Richmond and of Virginia, and we're proud of our strong connection with the Commonwealth, the support we receive from the Commonwealth and its leadership." On the VCU Reddit forum, multiple people expressed concerns. One student posted questioning the school's decision, especially since Governor Youngkin vetoed the minimum wage increases, saying, quote, "I did not find paying for college easy, as both of my parents make minimum wage, so his decision impacted my family's lives." According to VCU News, Governor Youngkin is not the first governor to speak at commencement. There was Terrence McAuliffe in 2015, Robert McDonnell in 2011, Timothy Kane in 2008, Mark Warner in 2004, James Gilmore III in 1999, and George Allen in 1997. On the other hand, students like Esther Oyabade, a graduating senior, took the announcement with consideration despite her peers' concerns.
I don't think it's bad that the governor is coming to come speak at our school, because if you really think about it, some schools do not get this opportunity. And since we are the school who got that opportunity, I think we should maybe take it as a blessing in disguise. You never know.
As the countdown for graduation continues, students remain excited for this special milestone. Reporting from Richmond, Virginia, I'm Esther Shobawale.
Richmond teens and parents make sure to keep an eye on the time. Richmond police are implementing an 11 p.m. curfew for teenagers starting now. The Richmond Police Department will be patrolling 21 hotspots around the city in an attempt to mitigate youth deaths relating to gun violence. This is the response after 8 Richmond public school students were recently shot and 4 children were killed. Minors who are out between the times of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. could receive up to a $500 fine and 20 hours of community service. It is unknown at this time how heavily this curfew will be carried out. Other localities already have a youth curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Thousands of Richmonders take the bus every day. InSight reporter Jimmy Sidney is talking to GRTC about his commitment to fare-free riding and the new stops that riders can expect.
Jornay Clark is a lifeguard instructor at VCU. She says her everyday commute is a quick and easy 15-minute ride.
I kind of use it to get everywhere around Richmond. From Shaka to campus, sometimes all the way to like Willow Lawn.
Richmonders took over 9 million trips between GRTC's fixed routes, Pulse, and Express routes last year.
While many riders take the bus to navigate around downtown, GRTC is expanding further into the counties with brand new routes. You can now take bus 1A all the way out to Chesterfield Town Center, which is about a 30-minute ride from downtown. This provides people with new access to jobs and workplaces with new access to customers.
GRTC spokesman Henry Bendon says more routes like 1A are en route.
You can take the 1 to Azalea and hop on Link and go to Mechanicsville. Well, we're going to try and do that with even more places so that people can keep finding service wherever they are and wherever they go. Really expanding what it means to be able to get around, for everyone.
When changes are made to the bus service, who should GRTC keep in mind? Clark remembers when the Pulse bus cost $150 a ride.
And the worry for certain people of worrying about having the money to be able to catch the bus, to get to go to work, to make more money, you know what I mean?
71% of riders come from households making less than $40K a year.
Overwhelmingly, our riders are essential workers, and fundamentally, what we want to do is provide the best possible service for the people that are on the bus.
GRTC has committed to finding new sources of funding to keep its buses fare-free.
We're going to find ways to fund it for next year. We are not giving up on this. This is a feature of the system.
Despite its challenges, the GRTC is moving ahead in 2024 with free fares, GRTC Link, a second Pulse, and service improvements on existing routes. Reporting for VCU InSight and the newsroom at VCU, I'm Jimmy Sidney.
Keep an eye out. Pulse buses will be getting an upgrade in the coming years, with the introduction of accordion-style buses and the construction on the north-south Pulse extension is the preliminary stages of engineering. On Monday, the Virginia NAACP filed their second lawsuit against Governor Glenn Youngkin's office. InSight reporter Chelsea Brooks-Giles has more on why this is happening.
The civil rights organization alleges that Governor Youngkin violated the state's Freedom of Information Act after failing to produce the requested records. These records would provide information on how and if Governor Youngkin's office is complying with the 2020 Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Law. This law established a governor-appointed director of DEI who is responsible for creating a plan to promote inclusive practices and address systemic inequalities within the state government. The NAACP became concerned if the chief officer of DEI, Martin Brown, was doing his job when he remarked that DEI is dead during a mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion training at the Virginia Military Institute. The NAACP president, Reverend Cozy Bailey, says the organization hopes that the government will work with them to follow the law moving forward.
We expect them to, adhere to what we hope will be a favorable decision from the courts to provide us the information that we've asked for. And then after we've had a chance to examine that, to work with us to actually adhere and be in concurrence with what that law says. That's what we expect.
The lawsuit was filed at the Richmond Circuit Court. Reporting in Richmond for VCU InSight and the newsroom at VCU, I'm Chelsea Brooks-Giles.
Virginia legislators are back at the state capitol to take a look at the governor's amendments to certain bills. Capitol News correspondent Volley Jamal was there and has the breakdown for us. Volley?
Thank you, Mark. Virginia legislators met for a reconvened session yesterday to address Governor Glenn Youngkin's vetoes, amendments, and the Common Ground budget. Youngkin vetoed 97 and amended 74 House bills. He also vetoed 56 and amended 43 Senate bills. It is worth noting some bills are duplicates. Democrats chose to not attempt to override any vetoes, but did vote on the governor's amendments. Youngkin also announced he was calling a special session on the budget for May 13th, and legislators did not discuss amendments to the budget at all yesterday. Both chambers addressed Youngkin's amendments yesterday. Members of the press were told there would be no attempts at overriding vetoes, only addressing the governor's amendments. Amendments to the bills regarding data privacy, expanding contraceptive access, and safe storage of firearms were rejected in a party-line vote. Not all rejections were partisan, however. Youngkin's amendment on skill games were met with bipartisan rejection, with only 2 Democrats and 4 Republicans voting in favor of them. Some of Youngkin's amendments were able to get broad support, such as his amendments to bills establishing the statute of limitations for medical debt and reforming Title IX training. There are no state elections this year, so in the fall, the focus will be on the presidential and congressional races. Governor Youngkin's term ends in January 2026, and he cannot run for re-election. The governor's race is heating up. Abigail Spanberger recently received the endorsement of Clean Virginia, a major Democratic donor. All Clean Virginia candidates must pledge to not take money from Virginia's regulated electric utility monopolies, Dominion Energy, and Appalachian Power Company. Spanberger's main primary opponent is Richmond Mayor LeVar Stoney, who has previously received campaign contributions by Dominion Energy. Merrill Rutledge is the only Republican to declare that he is running for governor. He previously ran for a state Senate seat, but lost in the primary. For VCU Capital News Service and the newsroom at VCU, I'm Vali Jamal.
Buying a lottery ticket might be a harder bet today. That's because hundreds of convenience stores around the Commonwealth are periodically shutting the sale of Virginia lottery tickets. The reason, convenience stores owners are protesting Youngkin proposed amendments to a bipartisan bill that heavily regulated skill games. The amendments to the bill include banning skill games by a certain distance from schools, casinos, and horse racing tracks. It also raises the tax rate from 25% to 35%. Convenience store owners say losing skill machines means a loss of 20 to 40% of the store's revenue. Virginia has become the first southern state to ban child marriage. InSight reporter Carly Woodcock has more on how this bill closed a loophole in the law.
That's right, Mark. Yes, Governor Youngkin signed this bill that establishes the legal marrying age of Virginia to be 18. This bill closes a loophole in the law that allowed minors to get married if they were emancipated from their parents. Before this bill was signed, anyone over 16 who have been emancipated from their families could get married. According to data compiled by the nonprofit Unchained, which fights to end child marriage in the United States, nearly 8,000 Virginians under the age of 18 got married between 2000 and 2021. The youngest was 12, and more than 80% were girls. Only 12 states ban child marriage. Virginia's child marriage ban will go into effect July 1st. Reporting from the Capitol for VCU InSight in the newsroom at VCU, I'm Carly Woodcock.
It's now time for VCU's insight into sports for the week. VCU InSight reporter Matt Bowman is in the studio with a look at the VCU teams headed to the A-10 tournament, plus a look at the baseball season in the River City. Matt?
Thanks, Mark. The VCU women's tennis team season is coming to a close, and that means the team is heading to the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Before the tournament, the Lady Rams went head-to-head with the University of Delaware Blue Hens this Wednesday, with the match going to Delaware. The team is now preparing for the A-10 tournament, which will take place in Orlando, Florida from April 24th to the 27th. The team has an overall record of 14-8 and hopes to hit the tournament ground running.
The VCU women's lacrosse team will be playing a home game against the Richmond Spiders this Saturday. The team goes into the game hoping to break a 3-game losing streak after losses to UVA, GW, and UMass. With an overall record of 4-11, the women's lacrosse team is hoping to finish out their season on a high note by taking down the Spiders and St. Bonaventure on April 27th. After a 3-game series against St. Bonaventure, VCU baseball played Liberty on Tuesday, with the Rams winning 2-1. The team has an overall record of 23-13 and are hoping to gain a victory over Dayton this Friday for the start of a 3-game series, which will end on April 21st. The team is also preparing for the Atlantic 10 tournament in May at Capital One Park in Tysons. Fans of the Richmond Flying Squirrels can take a trip up to Harrisonburg, Pennsylvania to watch the team take on the Senators for the final 3 games of a 6-game series. The Squirrels started the 2024 season off with a 3-game series against the Somerset Patriots, where they went 1-2. So far against the Senators, the Squirrels have lost 2 games. The Squirrels will come back to Richmond for a home game against the Bowie Bay Sox next week. The Tri-City Chili Peppers will also have their opening weekend from May 23rd to the 25th. That weekend, the Chili Peppers play the Greenville Yard Gnomes and the Peninsula Pilots. Both games will end with fireworks. Each game starts at 7 p.m. and will be home games in Colonial Heights at Shefford Stadium. The Masters came to a close this Sunday as Scottie Scheffler wins the 88th tournament at Augusta National Golf Course in Georgia. After putting on his second green jacket in just 2 years, Scheffler becomes only the second player to win the Masters and the Players' Championship in the same season, sharing the achievement with Tiger Woods. On top of this, Scheffler also joined a select group of only 17 golfers who have earned the title of tournament champion twice in their careers. Scheffler carded the final round 4 under 68 for an 11 under total. Reporting for the studio for VCU InSight and the newsroom at VCU, I'm Matt Bowman.
If you've been stocking up on your supply of Claritin and Allegra this spring due to the pollen, you are not alone. According to a report from the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, Richmond was ranked 7th in the country as the most challenging place to live with seasonal allergies. Historically, April has always been a rough pollen month for the city and has been a location where you can document some of the highest pollen counts in the nation. With high pollen-producing trees like an oak or maple, these plants have contributed to the record-breaking season we are experiencing now. However, the good news is Richmond is expected to return to a regular pollen count next week. Even if you suffer from allergies, the weather this weekend is looking pretty great. On Friday, it will be cloudy with a high of 77 during the day and 56 at night. Saturday is predicted to be partly cloudy with a high in the mid-70s during the day and 51 at night. The chances of rain on both days are low. VCU InSight will be back next week, April 25th. That show will be a special featuring the in-depth stories VCU InSight and Capital News Service reporters have been working on all semester. We hope you'll check it out. In the meantime, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for VCU InSight and the newsroom at VCU. I'm Mark Jones.